Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jolly, and we are sort of back. We are bringing you our PvP team builder for Chapter 6 of Season 7 of the Blast Burn Radio Nuzlocke World Tour for Pokemon Black and White 2. Apologies for the overlay. For some fucking reason, ever since OBS updated most recently, it won't save my changes. So this doesn't actually remotely look like the team that we're bringing in, but I don't have time to fix it just for a quick team builder. So let's break down what we have going on. This was, first of all, apologies if I'm a little bit more rushed or short than normal. It's been a busy week. I worked late last night and then early this morning, so I worked like 16 of a 24-hour stretch, and like literally just got a chance to sit down and do this, and we record the podcast in like an hour. So moving very, very fast. Got to go fast like Sanic. This was a big week for all of us. We all got a lot of new options, both in the terms of great new encounters as well as old encounters that have been missing critical pieces up until now that are finally able to come off the bench and be useful. For me specifically, that meant that when I was training my team this week, I actually, you know, our rule is we train 8 and we bring 6 to PvP. I actually wound up training, I think 12, like a lot more Mon than I can actually bring, because I genuinely didn't know what our roster for PvP was going to be coming into this week. Finally, we did straighten it out, of course. We had to. And that roster for PvP this week consists of Moltor the Magmar, Xander the Amoonguss, Billy the Cincino, Madison the Jellicent, Chip the Galvantula, Trakina the Heracross, Jason the Excadrill, and Swoop the Crobat. That means that we're leaving some real good friends on the bench this week. Damon the Swanna was only on the squad for one chapter, was our only water type option, and thus we leaned hard into him, but is a solid Mon regardless. Just isn't our best option as a water or as a flying type, and as such is just kind of left lacking, but that's okay. He'll have a good home in the bank and can always come out if we need him to. In particular, we do have one more chapter of doubles PvP like in the future in our crosshairs, and that Tailwind could be real good for that. So Damon's not necessarily done, just done for right now. Likewise, we're not bringing Kendricks this week, although we kind of knew that was going to be a thing. Like, we really don't need 2 ground types on the squad. We have better walling options now, and also, like, there's no way we were bringing Kendricks over Jason. That's just not a thing. Sorry, Kendricks. You were very good for the period where I needed you to be very good, and now we're moving on. We're sitting Pudgy Pig. Now, I don't feel great about this one, you guys. As a general rule, I don't like to bench starters. And my logic for benching Pudgy this week, well, obviously, we've talked about this before. Pudgy's moveset is not currently conductive to what Pudgy actually does. He just is lacking a lot of tools. Now, the good news is, next week, Pudgy is 100% going to be our best fire type option. He's going to get access to both Flamethrower and Fire Blast, which gives us kind of dual fire stab options for him that are special and are going to hit very hard. He's also going to get access to Superpower, which I like better than Focus Blast on this set, because even though Pudgy is a specially offensive Embor, special attack is 128 versus physical attack being 113. Like, 113 is still pretty respectable, and obviously Superpower does not have the accuracy drawbacks that Focus Blast does. And then in addition, like, if it's his only physical move, or like maybe that plus Flame Charge for speed, like I don't have to switch after clicking Superpower, right? It's not like, oh, well, now he's gonna have to switch because he doesn't hit as hard, because I can still just fire off Fire Blast, and that's very good. So yeah, I think Pudgy's gonna be in a much better position next week. Long term, like if we're talking Chapter 8 and the finale, is Pudgy going to come over Moltor? I genuinely don't know. But next week in particular, Moltor will not yet be a Mag Mortar, and Pudgy will have good attacking options, which means Pudgy, this is going to be a short sit on the bench for Pudgy right now. Right now. Maybe not forever, but for right now. And then lastly, we're not bringing Merrick. And this is the one that I am the most torn about. So Merrick, let's take a look at Merrick real quick. The stats are not good. Like, let's not mince words. The stats here are not great, but Merrick has a fantastic ability in Intimidate, and Merrick is able to paralyze everything, which has been incredibly useful. So why is Merrick not coming this week? We have a wealth of options. We do. We have a lot of really good mon on the team, and it's just, I don't think it's enough to merit the spot. Maybe I'm wrong. In particular, we'll talk more about the reasons why I think I might be wrong, but you know, Celeste's Crobat is a big problem for me right now because nothing I have, likely nothing that I will have on this run is going to be faster than that fucking thing, and it can fire off full power acrobatics, which is a big fucking problem. And I don't really have much of anything that wants to eat those. Like, period. I just don't. Like, my only real resistance for stab acrobatics right now is our boy Jason, and as we saw, Jason still didn't like to eat those last week. Factor in the fact that this week Celeste can have, and thus almost certainly does have, a flying gym. And basically, whoever takes that first acrobatics is donezo, is dead. 100%. That mon is going down and is not getting up. And that's a big problem. Let's take a look actually at first at our roster, and then we'll talk a little bit about what our opponents are bringing. So the roster that we are bringing is Swoop the Crobat, who still has that moveset of Return, Confuse, Right, Acrobatics, and Super Fang. We have Jason the Excadrill, who got the big bonus this week of getting Swords Dance, which I'm actually of two minds about, because like the thing with Hone Claws, right, is that it gives +1 accuracy, which meant that moves like Rock Slide and Iron Head were a little bit less risky. We saw how bad Rock Slide misses can be last week, but I still very much believe in Jason. Jason's an incredible Pokemon, and he can't have the shittiest luck every week. It is statistically unlikely. He is due for a big week, so hopefully that'll be this one. We're bringing Moltor the Magmar, and the big reason that I brought Moltor over Pudgy Pig on the roster this week is specifically the fact that Moltor has stronger attacking options, particularly in Lava Plume. That being said, I'm not going to bring either of them this week. They're my fire types right now are the least compelling options on my team. They're not going to stay that way, but right now, this particular moment in time with Moltor still unevolved and Pudgy having a lackluster moveset, it's not great. So Moltor's on the roster to keep them honest. Moltor's not coming. We got Xander the Amoonguss, and I'm of two minds about Xander. On the one hand, I really wish he was Regenerator, obviously, right? Like, Regenerator or Amoonguss is so fucking clutch. That being said, Effect Spore is still potentially really, really impactful. Get some real good clutch sleeps off of that boy. He is a poison type, which overall I think is a benefit against these opponents. Like, there's one particular place where that's not totally the case, but it allows him to resist Gaston's Fighty Bits. It allows him to yeah, basically just that. Basically just resist Gaston's Fighty Bits. That's enough. That's enough. It allows him to not be weak to Bug, which there's a lot of Bug floating around all of a sudden this week, which is dope. I like him. I like him a lot. Specifically, though, Xander was a no-brainer to bring because of Bernadetta, Celeste's Lilligant, because this motherfucker right here quad resists grass, is fully specially defense invested with a special defense boosting nature. That SPDEF stat is fucking disgusting. I can sit there and toxic that boy. Just toxic it all day long, get them big dick Veno shocks off. Xander is in a great position to put in a huge amount of work against that particular mon. It is going to be good against a lot of things, but like, if between you and me, like the reason that it is Xander as opposed to all the other defensive options I have, the reason I'm not bringing Toxica back out of the bank this week and bringing Xander instead is specifically to deal with that Lilligant, and I think he's going to be real good at that. He's going to resist Electric Stab from things like Mes's Magneton or Galvantula. Xander's in a good spot to be really, really defensively impactful. Now, would Xander be better with a Black Sludge? Absolutely. Did I want a Black Sludge for him this week? Unquestionably. Did I have time to go thief in the sewers for 6 hours? Fucking no, I did not. So he does not have one. That's just something we have to live with. We are bringing Billy the Cincino. I feel really, really good about this pick, you guys. We're going to be making a moveset change to Billy, and we'll take care of that here in a minute. But 128 speed, he is the fastest thing not named Crobat. I think that any of us are running. I don't think there's really any chance that anything is faster, which is dope. Has Encore, which is fantastic. As we'll talk about in a minute, there's a lot more like powerful defensive walls just floating around this chapter, which is good, like for like the diversity of the series and all that. But we can just encore motherfucker into it. They want to sit there and recover, cool. You're just gonna do nothing but recover now. They want to sit there and fucking Will-O-Wisp or Toxic, cool. That's all you can do while I break through your wall. So Encore, I think, is very potentially impactful tech, and I'm really happy to bring it. We got Madison the Jellicent. I'd be a lot happier with Madison if she was water absorb. I'm not even gonna bullshit. I'd also be a lot happier with Madison if she did not have a defense reducing nature, which is frustrating. We still trained her fully physically defensive to help make up for that nature. But with Will-O-Wisp, Surf, Recover, and Nightshade, again, just in a really great defensive position to live and last and burn things, which is always real nice. Lastly, we got Chip the Galvantula. Or not lastly, there's one more after Chip. I'm a damn liar. Chip is great. I love Chip. I love Galvantula. We had a great time with Kepra last series. Very good. Chip is a down speed nature, which is fucking frustrating. But that's okay. Chip's also compound eyes, which means once we get the Thunder TM, Chip is going to hit for some big dick damage. And that's fun. That's good times. But it does mean that Chip is going to be slower than Mess's Galvantula, which is frustrating. Although it could potentially be good, right? Because if they're both out together, if Mess goes for a Volt Switch, like I'm going to move second. Like I can get a slow turn off in that situation, which is dope. And he should still be faster than just about anything, if not literally anything else that Mess has to offer. So that's great. Oh, there's two more. Oh, bunch more? Maybe. I don't know my own team. It's fine. We've still got Trakina the Heracross. Trakina still does Trakina things. And again, we're going to make a couple changes to that moveset, including one that I think is going to be really important this week. Again, we do have Swoop. I don't know if I talked about Swoop or not. Swoop's coming. Swoop's got Return, Confuse Ray, Acrobatics, and Super Fang. Again, really wish we had a Flying Gem. Flying Gem Acrobatics is incredible. Like, it's kind of a meme for a reason. We don't. I do not have time to farm one. We're going to deal with that. That's just a disadvantage we are going to have going into PvP. Now I'm going to move my boys around real quick, and we'll talk a little bit about what Mes and Celes have to throw at me and why I'm fucked. Against one of those in particular. I'll let you guys guess which one. I definitely need Billy. I think everybody else's movesets are staying the same. I think. Yeah. Okay. So again, everybody's roster changed a lot this week, and for nobody was that more true than Mes. Mes did get a Fateful Encounter. We actually each got a Fateful Encounter out of the grottos this week. Mine was the only one that died and was, I think, unequivocally the worst of them. But Mes has a Regenerator Amoonguss Absolom, which is really, really huge. Like that's a great fucking Pokemon. He's gonna get real good mileage out of it. He also brought his Eevee out of the bank and evolved it into a Vaporeon named Ariel. He also unbanked his Sandile and now has a Crocodile named Brutus. Still rocking Xanatos' Magneton. Still rocking Gaston, his Conkeldurr. Is now rocking Anasi, his Galvantula. Lumiere, his Chandelure, and Maui, his Gigalith, all new to the squad. So there's a lot of new blood there. That being said, this is not a particularly fast team. The fastest things that Mes has are Galvantula, which is not a huge problem for me because I can just switch into my Excadrill. Like, he can whittle me down with Signal Beam, I guess, but overall just has very, very little to deal with Excadrill, so that's something I can definitely take advantage of. And then the other, like, reasonably fast thing is the Crocodile, which should still be outsped by most of my key threats. It is worth noting that with Jason, my Excadrill, having a speed increasing nature, he may or may not outspeed Jason. And it really just depends on his speed IV and I guess whether he has a speed increasing nature, although I don't think he does. But like ultimately, I think for the rest of the series, that speed matchup is gonna matter a lot as far as which one of those two Pokemon is faster. That's gonna be important. But we could potentially outspeed him with Excadrill, who's gonna do like a silly amount of damage. We're putting Night Slash back on Trakina, which is gonna be really huge. We've got Psychic and Ghost types aplenty floating around right now, and Night Slash is gonna help keep him honest, which is fucking dope. But yeah, Mes has a really interesting and scary roster, but I feel like we're in a really good place to put in work. Billy, in particular, is in a great place to do a ton of damage in this matchup, and we have great walls for Gaston the Conkeldurr. Looking at this roster, I do not expect to see Xanatos the Magneton. It just... like even compared to Anasi the Galvantula, it has no real upside against me. Like what does Magneton do with an Excadrill? Like nothing, literally nothing. At the bare minimum, Galvantula can at least resisted Signal Beam me. Magneton can't even do that. So I don't think we're gonna see Xanatos this week. Of the remainder of Mes's Mon, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Galvantula sit against me for the reasons we discussed, although, again, that's Mes's fastest Mon, so it's still really possible that it comes. I wouldn't be shocked to see Mes sit his Vaporeon, given the amount of answers I suddenly have to bulky water. Yeah. I think one of those two probably. I definitely don't think he sits Lumiere the Chandelure, as I don't have a lot of great switch-ins to that, and he's going to want to take advantage to that. And I don't particularly expect him to sit Maui the Gigalith, as it's just a really good defensive switch-in to a lot of things. Can also set rocks, which overall are kind of problematic for my team. So I definitely think, if I was a betting man, I think that... the Vaporeon and the Magneton don't come, although there's definitely some other options. But again, I think we're in a really good position here. The one notable thing is that Jason, our Excadrill, can click Earthquake against Mes with impunity. Mes does not have a flying type. He does not have a levitator. If we click Earthquake, there is no mischance, and we are doing big dick damage every time. And that is fantastic. Now, last but not least, definitely not least, Celeste's roster also changed quite a bit this week. Celeste has a squad consisting of Solon, her new Jellicent, which is Water Absorb. Celeste is the only one of us who got a Water Absorb Jellicent. The punk. She's still bringing Annette, her Stoutland. She's bringing Lysithea, her Electros, which is an interesting choice. I know that Celeste kind of goofed when she was training it. She trained it physical, anticipating running a Coil team, but it doesn't get Coil in this generation, so I don't know what she's planning on doing with it, or if she just didn't have anything else trained and so it got the slot, but we'll see. I'm not particularly worried about it regardless. Amoonguss should handle it pretty handily. She's bringing Ash, her Zangoose, which is a required bring for her. That is her Grotto pickup, so it is a hidden ability. Toxic boost Zangoose, which is something that we're going to need to be aware of. We do have Toxic on our Amoonguss. We definitely don't want to accidentally boost Celeste's Zangoose's damage. That would be problematic. She has a Magic Guard Reuniclus who is coming this week, which is definitely a cause for concern. Petra, her Crobat, Bernadetta, her Lilligant, and Raphael, her Sandslash. Again, there's a lot of threats here, a lot of threats. Obviously, Intimidate is always a problem, although, like, Stoutland don't want none of that Heracross, so, like, we have answers for that. Celeste does have switch-ins for it, but those switch-ins do not want to eat either a Rock Slide or a Night Slash, and so we just need to be aggressive, I guess, in predicting those swaps. The Lilligant, in particular, has been such a problem up to this point in the series. Xander shuts it down. Xander shuts it right the fuck down, which is really good and really important. So let's talk a little bit about the teams that we're bringing for each of these matchups. And for the first time in a while, those teams are different, or at least a little bit different for each of them. So against Celeste, we are bringing a team consisting of Chip, our Galvantula, with an Electric Gym, Electro Ball, Signal Beam, Volt Switch, and Thunder Wave. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Chip is primarily coming like more due to a lack of a better option than anything. Like he's got a decent matchup here. Obviously, Signal Beam is fantastic against Reuniclus. Electro Ball is gonna be. Well, Volt Switch is going to be really good against Crobat. Electro Ball, not so much, because Crobat's faster. Either one is going to be great against the Jellicent. So, like, there's a lot of potential there for Chip to hit real hard. Again, not the best matchup in the world. Celeste does have that Sand Slash, although I don't expect to see Raphael the Sand Slash against me. If I was Celeste building against my team, I think the Electros and the Sand Slash would probably both sit. But we'll see how that goes. Celeste sometimes brings some pretty wild tech. We're bringing Madison the Jellicent with lefties, Will-O-Wisp, Surf, Recover, and Nightshade. So here's the thing. Madison is going to lose one-on-one to Solon, the Jellicent, literally every time, because Solon is water absorb and Madison is not, which means like literally all I can do is burn it, Nightshade, and Recover, and we can just kind of get stuck in that titanic struggle for an eternity. Thankfully, we have other things that we can switch into Solon, and we're probably going to have to. But Madison is really good for walling some other stuff. It keeps the Zangoose honest, which is really good. Yeah, it keeps Stoutland honest too. Like Stoutland can crunch, but Stoutland's not a particularly offensive boy, and Jellicent can burn it. So that's real good. Definitely a good defensive option to have in my back pocket. Definitely brings some real good utility. If we can burn that bat, that would be ideal, I think. We're bringing Trakina, the Heracross. We're bringing a Rostberry Trakina, specifically because I am hoping against hope that Celeste challenges me. The Celeste faces me before Mes does, which, so again, Celeste is going to go first. So either she's going to challenge me or she's going to challenge Mes. And I don't want her to beat Mes. Like, reasonably, if either of us want a chance of winning, we need to start 2-0ing her in PvP, like, right the fuck now. So hopefully Celeste is going to go 0-2 this week. I don't expect it, but that would be ideal, right? But I'm hoping we can keep the Night Slash hidden in our back pocket, because the outcome that I am hoping for is that Celeste anticipates a close combat and hard swaps into Jellicent. We stay in and Night Slash it while it Will-O-Wisps and does nothing, and we Night Slash again and get the KO. Like, that would be like perfect world scenarios. Remove her fucking Jellicent. Is it going to happen that way? I don't know. Probably not, if we're being honest, but we're going to try. Regardless, I think that Rost is definitely the best possible item for this mon in this matchup, because, yeah, like, he's not fat enough to make really good advantage of a citrus. Like, the things that are going to kill him generally are just going to kill him, and the things that aren't. So that's what we're going with. We're bringing Xander the Amoonguss. Again, Citrus Berry. We've only got one lefties. Sorry, Xander. But Xander actually kind of has a poor matchup in this one, specifically because of the Reuniclus and the Crobat, but has to come. Has to. 100%. It is our only reliable answer for Bernadetta the Lilligant. Celeste might see that. She might not bring Bernadetta because she might just be like, well, Amoonguss walls it, not going to bring it, but we have to bring it just in case. Good news is if Lilligant does not come, Xander 100% is death fodder for Crobat. If Crobat comes out, we're anticipating that first Flying Gym Acrobatics. We throw Xander at it, Xander goes down, and then we can do our magic. We don't want Xander to go down that early. Like, Xander's a great option against Jellicent, but we can't reliably do much with him until the Crobat and the Reuniclus are down, and Celeste is going to be aware of that. She's going to protect those boys pretty hard. So if we're in that position, something is going to die to Crobat. If Lilligant doesn't come, it's probably going to be Xander. We got Billy the Cincino with a Rostberry, and again, Billy's in a great position to put in work in this matchup. Can't super go toe-to-toe with Crobat, at least not until its item is expended, but the combination of Tail Slap, Rock Blast, and Bullet Seed nukes fucking everything from orbit. We're rocking a Rostberry on Billy as well for much the same reason. 2 rounds of Bullet Seed should deal with the Jellicent, should deal with the Sand Slash if it comes, like should deal with pretty much anything that Bullet Seed is designed to deal with. Last but certainly not least, we got Jason. We're rocking the wide lens on Jason this week, specifically so that if we click Rock Slide or if there's a reason where we click Iron Head, I don't anticipate that there is, although it is, I mean, it's a decent neutral play, like only the Jellicent or the Electros resist it. So I guess depending on what team he brings, like maybe Maybe Ironhead is like the best neutral play in some situations, but specifically we had a real bad miss against Celeste last week. We don't want that to happen again, so we rocked wide lens to prevent it. We really have to manage Petra the Crobat in this match. Like I cannot overstate that, and that's easier said than done. I am not sure we are capable of beating Celeste with the way that her team is built right now. If we have one saving grace, it's that she has to bring the Zangoose, and the Zangoose does not match up particularly well against my team. So that's good. Otherwise, it's looking a little grim, but we're going to do the very best that we can. I've been confident for the last 2 weeks, and we've gotten mopped by RNGesus. So hopefully this time around, I'm a little bit more hesitant, and we turn that paradigm around. Now, real quick against Mes, we are bringing almost the exact same team with a couple of item changes. We're bringing wide lens on Billy this time around just because all of his moves, for the most part, particularly the tail slap, have a chance to miss, so that's helpful. We're bringing soft sand on Jason for the extra damage. Otherwise, we're bringing a citrus berry on Heracross because we don't have to worry about burn nearly as much. I think the only thing that Mes has that can burn is that Chandelure, and if that Chandelure stays in on Trakina, it's not going to be to click Will-O-Wisp. The big difference is we sat our Jellicent. We sat Madison. She doesn't have a great matchup against Mes. Mes also has an Amoonguss. Mes has a Vaporeon that is water absorb. Mes has a Galvantula. These are all big problems. Even the Chandelure has got at least Hex, I'm sure. So that's a big problem. Not a great matchup for the Jellyfish. So we brought Swoop instead. And the nice thing is because Mes lacks his own Crobat, Swoop is going to be the fastest thing on the field in this matchup. Nothing can catch him, which means that now we have that fast, powerful, problematic acrobatics on our side, which is great. But yeah, I definitely feel a lot better about the Mes matchup. I can never feel good about a Mes matchup because Mes is very, very good, and when he has like the time and energy to pour into team building, he's always going to give me a run for my money. But like I feel like our roster matches up very strongly against Mes, and we're going to play it to the best of our ability. But yeah, that's our PvP plans for this week, guys. I'm not sure how it's going to go. We're going to do our very best and hopefully not fuck it up. But yeah, be sure to look out for this week's episode of Blast Burn Radio Podcast, which should be hitting your podcatcher of choice tomorrow sometime, ideally. If it doesn't, then I'll be sure to update you guys and let you know. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. As always, I've been Jolly by Nature. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time.